Right, what have we got today? Boosh, it's just a small one. It's a small one, but it's something that if you don't have and you need this specific type of tool for the job that you're doing, life becomes very difficult, and that's why I like these little things. So this is a mini offset ratchet or ratchet driver, depending on what you want to call it. Get all this stuff out the way there so I can concentrate. Right, so this is the Enginner, and it is the DR55. So Engineer is a Japanese brand, and yes, this is made in Japan. So it's not one of these ones where you go, oh, that's a cool Japanese tool. And I've generally found every single Japanese tool that I buy that is made in Japan, the quality has been way up there with the German stuff, so I'm more than happy. But it's not one of these ones where you see it's a Japanese tool, really cool, you get it and it says made in China or something. Again, I've got Chinese tools and they work, but if you're buying a Japanese tool like this, you would expect it to be made in Japan, and it is. Anyway, enough waffle about that. So let's go over what this is. So this is a 6.35mm, or, well, I mean, they are saying that there, but better known probably the rest of the world as a 1/4" driver. So a 1/4" just means, so if any 1/4" bit will go in. There's some 1/4" bits there, these standard bits that you would expect from a driver there, a non-precision one. The precision drivers are obviously a much smaller bit, but that's your standard bits there. This just happens to be a PB Swiss, and they are PB Swiss bits. So what is this for? So this is when you have limited space and you need to do a job. In fact, it should show you on here. There you go. So a nice little example. In fact, let's take it out of the box. And enough waffle. Let's get this out. So I have tried this and I put it straight back in the box there. Boom. So get shot of that. Not interested in that. And again, we will concentrate on this. So when you would use a ratchet, it's because you have limited space to the left and right, but when it's in a slim offset like this is, and it's a very tight space, you don't always have clearance above either. So you need to get in a very small situation and then move in a manner which will fasten or unfasten your fastener. Now, if I show you, I'll put that to one side. I'll show you my little tool kit that I use at work. So I use this when I need a small tool. So I've got loads of stuff. I've got a little adjustable there from Knipex, and I've got the traditional tiny little Cobra there. I realise there is an extra small Cobra, but this works well for me. So in here I have, and I think a subscriber got this for me, very, very handy. You can even stick a driver in the end. So you'd stick your bit in. So let's have a look. There you go. There's a bit. Let's just pop that in. So you'd stick a 1/4" in, straight in, and then you would set to work. So it is reversible. All of these have a reversible mechanism. So like that, boom, 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 and you tighten it. So what you want on one of these is a small arc of movement here. So if you're limited for clearance, you want a small arc of movement, which a lot of these have. Some are guilty of not having that, and the ability to do it the other way, tighten it and taking it off. So, you know, looking at that, you can see clearance wise there's going to be a big difference. So let's put these side by side. So if I'm trying to be fair here, so let's put those side by side. Big difference there in clearance. So the clearance claim, and I have tested it with a tester here, that is exactly from there, from the base there to the tip of the bits that they provide, you are getting 22 mils of space there. So as you can see on that Sabrecut one, which is great, I've got no problems with it. However, this is better. Yes, you could argue, well, okay, if you're that bothered, why don't you just go and get yourself an offset? I have an offset like this. These are from another Japanese. Is this Annex? Yeah, Annex. Very slim. So the offset on these is minuscule, and I have used these recently twice. It was a piece of equipment where some idiot had put the fasteners in through sheet metal, and then the thing over the top, there was no damn space to do the job, so I had to use this. Even that Sabrecut wouldn't fit in. Now look at the difference there. So if you're looking for ultra slim, you're going to have to go for an offset tool like this. But the thing with these is they generally have the bits stuck in them. I mean, yes, you could take these out on the Annex to a degree. There's like a little circlip. It's not technically a circlip, but it keeps that bit in. But they are specific bits. They're not a standard 1/4". So they're 1/4" in diameter, but not in length. That's a specialist bit, but look at the difference there. So I'm just pointing that out before I start going on about how good this tool is. And it's only 22 mil. I realise they are slimmer ones, right? Get that out of the way. So I do also have one of these and one of these. So we'll take these out. and let's compare them. So we'll take them out. I don't need that bit. So just so I've got those on screen and you can see them and you can see how it compares with those. That's one from Klein. That's a knockoff of a Japanese brand, but it has a little bend in it. So again, if you've got limited situations, it can get in there. Okay, so let's concentrate on this one. So this is the Enginner DR55. Again, stamped Japan. It says made in Japan, and I'm concluding, I can't prove that, but I'm concluding that the bits are also made in Japan, because, you know, they should be. Okay, so pop them down there. So I really like this. I really like this because it's got all of the things that I need, and it feels quite heavy duty, even though it looks just like a cheap stamped metal. It isn't. It's very decent quality. So they are claiming, again, and I have tested it, 22mm total clearance, and it does have that. And it does have a nice thumb spinner where you can start off. The whole point of that is you can start it off, you put it on the fastener, start it off, boom, 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 right, here we go, right, and it's time to use the ratchet, and then, see that? So it's a nice, lovely, smooth ratchet system there. Now, not many teeth on there, is there? So, you know, just bear that in mind. So the arc of swing is going to be bigger, but I'll show you that compared to these other ones. I'll show you side by side. So you're probably thinking, that looks great. How on earth are you supposed to get them out? Now, the obvious answer is with your fingers or something like this, but you don't need to do that. So you can do that, but you don't need to do that. The bit system itself comes with a little push through. Again, you could use a screwdriver or whatever else you're using, and it just pushes through and then out they come. So let's look at the bits themselves. They're very, very, very short. So let's have a good look. Now you'll notice there are little cutouts there and into there. So I wonder if that's part of the holding mechanism. So let's have a good look in here. So it just looks smooth to me. There doesn't seem to be a ball bearing there. Now you can see there, so if you look very carefully, there are slight protrusions there. So 1, 2, 3, am I counting enough? 4 there, protrusions, which help hold that tight. So I'll show you how that goes in. So hang on, am I putting this the right way there? So you need to seat that correctly there. So those protrusions mean you have to put that in a specific manner. So those high points of the hex are going to hit those. So you have to rotate it into the right position. Right, that's the right position. And then it's simply a friction fit. So I'm just feeling that. Yeah, that's a friction fit. And then it clips in. So if you want to get that out, you've got to then pop that out there. And you can see the mechanism, how it works there. That's the, well, I mean, you can see the ratchet mechanism there. I'll try and get a close up. There you go. So there, see as that works. And then the actual mechanism to reverse that, there's a pivot here, and there's a tool down here, so you can go from left to right. So you can go that way, or you click it up the other way, see? I should do that from the side, it's probably better to see. In fact, I'll do it up top. There you go, much better. So left and right, left and right. So there's a simple rod which goes up to this triangular tool here with a pivot there, and then it rotates that there. So it's going one way, the pole or whatever you would call that, almost like a portcullis going up there, and then you rotate and it goes the opposite direction. So pretty good. So let's test the arc of swing on this. So let's stick one in here and let's stick another one in here. I just want to see what the difference is. So let's put this together with this. Now you'll notice the difference here on the Sabrecut. It does have a ball bearing in there, which is slightly superior. So there, right, so get that in. Right, so let's look at the size here. So I've got that about normal, so about level there. So watch. Very small clicks there, isn't there? Which is exactly what you need, because sometimes not only do you have the clearance issue of height, you have the clearance issue of side to side where you don't have a lot of room to move, which, so that's really good on there. So let's compare that to this. Let's be careful about this and get this exact. So let's give me something to grip onto. Right, so what we'll do is we will rotate that to the right direction, and then I'm going to get that central, right, and then we'll just be fair. Quite a lot of movement there. Did you see that? I would say that's just under double. So watch, we'll go parallel. That's a lot. So there's not many teeth on this, which I'm a little bit annoyed by. See? Again, compare that to this. Per tooth, watch. So that's about central. See? Tiny movements, at least double. So that's just one thing I would mark it down for. Not enough teeth, because of that, it's more robust. But I mean, for goodness sake, how much power are you going to be putting in? When you're using this sort of mini thing, you're not necessarily putting a load of power in. You're not necessarily getting this thing going, right, stick a cheetah bar on, a 10-foot cheetah bar, let's get some torque on this. That's generally not what these tools are used for. They're for small precision things. It doesn't say precision, but that's how I would technically use a lot of them. So that's the only thing for me. Not many teeth on this. And just so you can get a nice close-up in 4K, there are the teeth there. There you go. I'll show you them rotating there. Again, it does have this nice rotator, so you can get the fastener started. So you get it in, right, you've got a bit of tightness, and away you go. So I like that. You don't have that on this. You do have it on the Klein. I really like this Klein, although I have mentioned this before, the chrome plating, where is it? Because it annoyed me. Where was it? Some of the chrome plate, there it is, look. I just want to point that out. So see some of the chrome platings come off. If I can get that to focus, there you go, see it right in the middle there. It's chipped off, which is very annoying, but other than that, I love this. It's got a nice action on it, so again, we'll compare that. So we'll stick a bit in, and you'll do same bit, let's compare it. I like to give comparison, so it's no good me saying I like this tool, yeah, but what about other tools? So we'll get that parallel, and then we'll get the direction correct, and then watch. Right, so parallel, see, very small movements. A lot of teeth, which is kind of what you need. So I don't know why. I guess they've gone for robustness on this. We'll test it with this crappy knockoff. So I guess this has got a similar amount of teeth, because look, is that similar or is it even worse? I mean, they're more protruding, but watch. Let's just check. So we'll go parallel there. Now, see, similarly, there's a lot of movement there. I think it's probably similar to this. Watch. It's not far off. Yeah, it's probably similar to that. So I would say these are in the same teeth category, whereas these are finer. So something to bear in mind. So what do you get with this? You get your little bits with a little hook, so you can hang this on something, and then I would call that your bit extractor. Although obviously you can just stick a screwdriver through, you know, that's not really an issue. Stick a little slim screwdriver through, or whatever fasteners you're dealing with, just stick them through. And they've had to do that because these are, if you look at the length of these compared to a standard bit, so we'll take out one of these. So there's a PB Swiss. That's generally what you would expect from a, and you've got the little retainers there. So there's a PB Swiss. So let's get that together on the hand with that. Right, let's get a nice close look at that. So we'll get them together there. So you can see massive height difference. So again, they're saving space by doing that. But the unfortunate side effect of that is it can be a little irritating to get the bits out. So we'll pop them down. And I'm pretty happy with the quality here, even though that's plastic. There's a little bit of movement, watch. In fact, you can hear it. Hear that? Little bit of movement. Does it affect its working? Certainly not. And this looks and feels very robust. These sections of like almost stamped metal that they've used are very robust. They remind me of the thickness of the annex. I mean, this is just an offset, and I thought the quality of this was brilliant. And this is made in Japan. Very thick, very, very, very firm. I can't even bend that. And the same with this. This is rock solid. Fit and finish is good. And then they've blasted them through and then riveted them off. So great stuff. Okay, so you get a PH1, PH2 and a PH3, and the slotted they are saying is a 6mm, so they're referring to the slotted there. And it's actually a decent slot. If you look at that, it's one of these better quality ones, you see. So it slopes in, it's like a hollow grind there, very nice. And they're all coated with what looks like some sort of phosphate covering there, which is better. Okay, so pretty good. Right, let's get all this out of the way. I need to go over some pros and cons, because this was supposed to be a quick review, and as usual, it's far too long. Okay, so pros, made in Japan. I think it's good value. 22mm offset, really, really good. And as you've seen in the comparisons, it's extremely good. The only way you're going to beat it, unless it's a tool I'm unaware of, is to get one of these, which I have used. You can see the head on that has been used regularly, and I used it twice recently, and it was a godsend. It was fantastic. So great stuff. It comes with some bits, and it's pretty good, and it's got a thumb turner. So when it comes to cons, I would say there's not enough teeth, or they should at least do this and then another version called a precision version where you have more teeth, because I would like to see that. Because again, offset is one thing, but what about, you know, offset to the left and right when you are in limited conditions, and it's annoying. So to me, it's okay, look, but I would like to see more teeth, you know, something to think about there. And I would say, you know, the quality's really up there, and I think it's worth the price. So I'm happy with this. I will use it. I will use it when I don't need to go to the extremes of this, and I do not have a problem with clearance on the left and right, and it feels rock solid. So I'm going to add that to my kit with all the rest of the stuff, with my Kleins and stuff. I really do like the Klein. This is my general small one. I've put up lights and all sorts with this. I've really enjoyed this. It's got nice fine tooth count. It's even got a little nut driver on the top there, which I've used a couple of times. It's pretty rare that I do use that. And again, that does have a nice thumb turner on it, so the same, but the offset's different. Okay, so I'm going to give this an 8. So why am I only giving it an 8, even though I'm saying it's rock solid, it's brilliant? Well, I would say it needs more teeth, in my personal opinion. And maybe it's a different method for extracting the bits. For people like us who watch these reviews, it's not an issue, but if this was to be sold to a standard DIY, I can imagine them getting it, sticking their bit in and going, oh my God, I can't get it out. And then, you know, going to the kitchen drawer and getting out scissors and all sorts of weird things to pull this. I mean, you can do it by hand, but not everyone has a strong grip, you know. So I can pull that out, no problem. But maybe as a DIY, I might find a little bit of issue with that. And bear in mind, it's just a friction fit. The friction, most of the friction seems to come from this, and then you have those grooves which position it. So it's okay, it's okay. I'm going to give it an 8. Made in Japan, decent quality. I certainly will use this. Okay, so thanks for joining me. If you have any questions about this, in fact, I'll give you a nice close look while I'll continue waffling. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comment section, and I will certainly do my best to get to them and give you a honest reply. So there you go. So 8 out of 10. This is the Enginner DR55, the mini offset ratchet made in Japan. Adjustable, and it has not many teeth, let's put it that way. Okay, so goodbye.